Yeah, maybe
Cool.
I got to get the light off of it, but you might be able to see that it has different voltages. It has 240 at the top, 220, 200, 110, and it's designed to plug into 120 here in the States. With a NEMA 15 on it. Anyway, they make them.
Yep, got to have them.
Is that an isolating transformer too? Or is it just, you have to put that an isolation transformer on after that?
Well, yeah, it is a step down. It automatically isolates because it's got 110 on one side and 220 on the other. But this one's an up and down. I can plug it into 240 and bring it down to 110 to 120. In the front of it, you can see that it's got two plugs. I don't know if the camera can.
Yeah, you can see your
light off. It won't be as glary. Now you can see it. You can see it's got both outlets on the front, and in the back, you just set up what you're putting into it.
So it's not an auto transformer, it's an actual isolation transformer?
It's actually a multi-tap transformer.
Okay.
It weighs a ton.
Yeah, they usually do.
Yeah, and I think this one was about 100 and a half.
Yeah.
It's rated at 100 watts.
Did you buy it or you built it?
No, I bought it. Building things takes too long. I'm busy working on radios.
Especially those transformers.
I was wondering, I hope Rick Walton joins tonight. I think I have something he wants.
Oh, what do you got?
Well, I've got, hang on a second. It takes both hands to lift it.
Oh, the heavy one. Boat anchor.
Not really, just old. I got one of these.
What is that? That's
that's a Majestic Model 15.
Wow.
And Rick is going to be really happy that I have it because even more importantly, I have the speaker.
Ah.
And that's what he needs, I believe.
Well, how about the cabinet?
Yeah, we got the cabinet too.
Oh, okay.
Tom has it. This one has a problem with it. Majestic like to put the oscillator coil and the IF coil in one can. And 175 kilohertz, and the two interact with each other. I have tried every permutation. I've even tried leaving the old IF coil in the center of the oscillator coil and putting a separate IF in it. Radio just doesn't want to play, and it's a console, it's big, and it needs a lot of work, and the owner just said no.
Well, just the chassis are almost made out of cast iron. Jeez.
Yes, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to take both of my 175 kilohertz Miller IFs back and put them in the original boxes.
So why'd they make the chassis so thick back then?
I don't know. I don't know if it's what was available or because they're all heavy like that.
Sure made them heavier than hell.
Yeah.
Way overbuilt. I mean, you know.
I mean, this chassis weighs about 40 pounds and it's got a whopping 5 tubes in it.
Oh, wow.
Great big transformer.
That's where the weight is, isn't it? In the transformer?
No, it's in everything in this radio.
Just everything, huh?
Yeah, even the gang tuner. It's got a 3-gang tuner in it. Even that weighs like 5 pounds. This thing is just unbelievable. It's got a 3/8 inch shaft in it.
They don't want it to break, huh?
The only thing this radio will break is what it's dropped on.
Oh, break a toe.
How'd the swap meet go Saturday? Was there a good crowd?
Yeah, it's a nice sized crowd. I bought a radio from Ray Holland. I had to wait 2 days to do it. I went over to his house and I was helping him get his last 2 projects done, and I wanted to buy the radio, and he says, "No, you can wait until Saturday." So I waited till Saturday and bought it. But it's a little GEF 61. There was a German radio in the auction.
Telefunken.
Yeah. Looked like a pretty nice radio. Unfortunately, I've already got a stack of them in here.
Do you know what year that Telefunken was?
I'm guessing between 53 and 59.
Wow, I just got a glimpse of it when the guy carried it away. It looked like really good shape.
It was pretty radio.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have any Blaupunks?
Right now I've got one very colorful dial.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's probably a couple of months from coming up on the bench, but I'm working on a Saba right now.
Yeah, I worked on one of those, about a year ago. And the guy bought it, thought it was great radio. It didn't have one tube in it. They'd all been robbed.
Oh,
Anyway, the 9-pin tall output tubes were a triode and 2 pentodes in the same envelope.
oh wow! I was going to ask if it was a 6BQ5, but obviously not.
No. So it was push-pull in one envelope. I want to say ECC 800. There's an 800 in the number, but
Oh, I've got
Never even heard of those.
anyway, I had to order those from the Netherlands. But it basically had the right and left channel driven push-pull with those tubes. And then you can imagine the output transformer stacked. And then in the middle, it was basically a base transformer. Let's see. Oh, I'm thinking of a different one. Okay, never mind. Anyway, push-pull out of one tube
wow.
with the triode in,
Was the triode the driver for the push pull?
yeah, the phase
That was
inverter.
an audio system in one tube.
Yeah, just about.
Wow.
They weren't cheap.
I wish I'd known. I think I've got a couple of them over there. I've never
Oh.
used them.
Oh, I'll be darned.
I think they're Amperex too. I'll have to go over and look in a few minutes.
Yeah, go
Well,
look them up.
My project tonight, other than taking this Majestic 15 down to the nubs, is I've got a 42 Philco I'm going to work on, and I believe it is a 42 355, and it has no oscillator. And somebody's been into the oscillator coil.
Mm.
So this is one of those wonderful radios that all the wiring was the insulation's falling off of it.
Well,
Anyway,
do they want
the
to
radio's-
change the IF frequency or something?
You know, I can't get it to oscillate anywhere. I think it's up inside the can, but anyway, the first IF and the oscillator are, I believe, in the first can together. Not positive, but anyway,
What radio is this?
it's a Philco 42 355, I believe is the
okay.
model number.
Hmm.
It's got a XXL or a 7B4
Oh, yeah.
oscillator tube.
How do you guys find the parts for it? If you
What's
need the parts, how do you find parts for old models? Do they manufacture?
Some of them
Can you
are.
hear me?
You can still buy capacitors, and but I think more than anything else is that we depend on each other to supply each other.
Yeah.
eBay is good to us. Amazon is becoming good to us. I have a German radio over here that I'm getting ready to do for one of our members that I had to buy all 5 tubes for it, and all of the tubes came from Europe, but none from Germany. And I called a fella who runs a website out of Germany, and he hooked me up with the people to buy it.
It must be expensive. Huh? It's very unique.
Those were definitely expensive. I paid some of those tubes I paid 40, 50 euros a piece for.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it's an interesting radio. It's a 1936 or so Nora,
Mhm.
and it was brought back by an American from the war as a souvenir.
And my grandma used to have one like that. I don't know what happened to it. Disappeared. That's Norma. Norma. I don't know. Maybe inheritance took it. Maybe they throw it away. I don't know how to fix it. Break down. That's back home overseas.
That would be fun to do.
European, German products.
Like you said, it was a German radio. Is that what he said?
And Germany also followed different voltage. Is,
Here. Your channel indicates you have low bandwidth. You may want to turn off your camera and just let us hear the audio.
You're breaking up.
He looks like he's frozen too.
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, Franklin, what did that European radio cell phone?
From Europe.
Yeah, we can't understand you, Wada. You got to find a better signal. What was that, Pat?
What did that European radio sell for in the auction?
Dollars. It was-
$20.
Yeah, $20. It was dollars. It's a little bit of
I
dollars.
was muted.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna say back.
Yeah, I turned the money over to Ed last night. I remember looking at what things sold for. And I remember noting the German radio was 20.
Oh, wow.
You missed out, Pat.
No, I was there. I just didn't bid on it. I got some other stuff. I couldn't believe, I got some wood radios there for like $1 a piece.
That Scott went for $15.
I
There's a
know.
lot of kindling in that.
A lot of chrome. Just take the chrome tubes off of it, or the chrome tube shields.
There you go.
That's worth $20.
What kind of a Scott was it?
It was a 500
800B, I think.
B
B, yeah.
chrome chassis.
2 chrome chassis, right?
Yeah, 2 chrome chassis. Gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah, some of those go for big money.
Now,
It was in pretty good shape.
here was my find. I bought a GEF 61.
Pretty nice looking.
It's in really nice shape. It'll clean up beautifully. Chassis clean and everything seems to move freely on it.
Ray's got some really fun stuff, doesn't he? Oh my gosh.
Not anymore.
He didn't sell it all, did he?
No, he took a few of them home, but I would say he sold half of what he brought.
Wow.
His stuff is gone. I went over there, like I said, Thursday to get a vibrator to finish up a radio that he asked me to finish for one of his customers, and he said, "I don't have any anymore." Well, come on, Ray, you had hundreds of vibrators. Nope, all gone, sold them all. Went in his shop, and I mean, he cleaned house. When he said he was done,
Huh.
he sold everything off in about a week.
Wow.
So that was a little disappointing for me. I was kind of hoping maybe that, taking over his last 2 projects, I might be able to get a few parts from him. But now I'm on the hunt for a very odd vibrator, one that has 5 tubes in it in a unusual configuration.
Huh, yeah.
6-volt synchronous. So I'll be on the hunt. Till then, he's going to have to go with a solid state one.
Well, that's the typical vibrator. What they look like, right? They look like they sit in a tube slot.
Yeah, they set in the tube.
Yeah.
And this one
Yeah.
has a handle on top. Most of them do not.
Now, what is this? It says vibrator condenser on it.
That's a vibrator condenser. It's a noise eliminator.
Yeah.
So it's really
Probably
basically
a
a
buffer.
capacitor, right? Then?
Yeah. And they were very high voltage.
Oh, really?
If it's a buffer cap, the buffers were usually into the thousands of volts.
When you run the vibrator on the primary, the secondary going into the rectifier, there's a lot of very sharp high voltage spikes that you need to attenuate.
Yeah.
And that's what that capacitor does.
And if they
So-
don't, your vibrator has a pretty short life.
So do you,
Oh, because it's cycling back and forth, right? That inside the vibrator has a little switch, reed switch, right?
That's
Kind of.
there's a reed relay that goes back and forth.
And then
Okay.
that'll determine the hertz, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So shouldn't it just be at 60 hertz or whatever? Or is that what you wanted to do?
Oh, that'd be nice.
They typically run about 110, don't they? 110 hertz.
Really? So they made them so that they weren't even with the power, with the AC power. They weren't even matched up with the AC power then.
Well, you're not plugging it into AC,
Oh, okay.
battery powered.
Ever, huh? So they weren't AC/DC radios then.
No.
They were all
They
DC
had-
radios. They're all running on battery.
Yep. You have a tapped primary and a tapped secondary.
Cool.
So Blake, do you ever pull them apart and clean them up and reuse them?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. When
Yeah,
you
you-
get desperate, you know?
Are you desperate? You'll do just about anything.
Yeah.
Ray Ziverich. Oh, hey, Mark's got the same radio I do right over his shoulder there. Nice radio, Mark.
Oh, he does.
The F63, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool radio.
But
Is that yours, or are you working on somebody else's?
no, I actually own two of those. I bought this one to help me reassemble the other one.
Uh-huh. Ah,
Two fairly nice ones. But,
yeah, they're just a neat looking radio.
But on the vibrator, Bruce, I actually have a little circuit that Bob Campbell told me about. I think Rudy told me that it wouldn't work, and Bob told me that Rudy was full of hooey. The two of them would, but I use both their techniques. Rudy actually showed me how to rebuild a vibrator at a call letter folding event about 10 years ago.
Oh, uh-huh.
Showed me his technique for doing them, and it's pretty good. But I got to tell you, Bob Campbell's little toy that he has, which is a current, just taking AC, run it through a light bulb to limit the current, and then running it through the vibrator backwards. Well, it cleans contacts in a hurry.
Oh, really?
I use
Uh-huh.
both.
Oh, cool.
Put it out here and I'm on the bench and put 120 volts in it and watch the vibrator rattle all over the top of the bench. Fun to watch.
So it sounds like people aren't familiar with vibrators. Maybe we need to take one apart and let it buzz in front of the camera.
That would be fantastic. Good
Yeah.
tech talk.
Yeah, and then we can take one solid state one apart and see who can show me how that works.
Yeah.
Sounds
So-
good.
So I was in the museum yesterday and buttoned my head against this god awful oscilloscope that I've been having all kinds of troubles with. And so I thought, screw it, I'm going to have some fun. So I started messing around with tubes on the curve tracer and came up with some interesting stuff. Anyway, you want to see that? I'll share it.
You have a curve tracer?
That's at the museum, vacuum tube curve tracer.
I'd love to see it. You want me to put you in let me put you in as a co-host.
Well, before you do that, let me show you what the inside of the vibrator looks like. I just happen to have one in pieces here.
I don't feel like any of the officials were really there to help us officers do our job and safely get home every day.
Well, Officer Diaz, our prayers are with you in your recovery and with your colleagues there. It's a part of the story we need to hear more of, so we get a complete idea of what officers on the street go through day in and day out and the heroic work they did last year. Good luck in the Boston Marathon. We'll be watching. Now, why would the vaccine president decide to take the shot after watching fully
You
vaccinated?
wanna-
I'll mute him.
Yeah, mute him.
Now masking up. That question led to a conference.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Okay, Blake,
Okay.
you can vibrate now.
Yeah, I can show you what the inside of the vibrator looks like, except that he muted us all.
No, he
Oh, I
didn't.
hear you. Did I mute everybody?
No, no, I hear you just fine.
Okay. I'm used to seeing my picture come up, but anyway, can you see me or can you see the vibrator?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right. How interesting. I don't know. Anyway, I can actually, if I don't know if I could power it up or not. But anyway, get it up real close so you can see the relay
The
coming
contact
up
there.
through the set of contacts, and then you've got the electromatic in the top, and this top piece flexes either way. As the magnet conducts, it pulls it towards one relay, which breaks the connection, which lets it go free against the other one, which re-energizes the coil and back and forth. So as you know, as Bruce indicated, it basically it's a chattering relay. And they look really cool on a curve tracer.
You think?
No.
Okay. All right, you see that?
Yep. Everybody else see it?
Mhm.
Yep.
So there was some talk about heater to cathode leakage on vacuum tubes. And, I've looked at all the specs, and, some specs on a 12AU7 says you can go 250 volts between heater and cathode. Some of them say you can go, let's see, where's my notes?
Mute
You can
Bob.
have the heater minus with respect to the cathode for 200 volts, or the other way around with 100 volts. So it's all over the map, but they don't tell you anything about leakage. So what I've got here on the left is a plot of the heater to cathode current. And anyway, so we're starting in the lower left corner with 0 volts and 0 current. And this is 20 volts per division. So it's about 200 volts full scale here. And basically the current's drawn about 50 microamps per division. So at 200 volts here, we're about 100 microamps. Interesting. That's at normal 12.6 volt heater voltage. So I jacked the heater voltage up to 18.9 volts. Now we're a milliamp per div. And so we go out to about 20, 40, 60, 80, about 100 volts, a little over 100 volts. And we're actually drawing a couple of milliamps of current between the heater and the cathode. And if you notice, it doesn't take many volts for the current to build up, especially with the high heater voltage. Anyway, I found that quite interesting. And the fact that there's no real specs on what that current might be. Any thoughts on that, Blake?
No, I find it interesting as well. I don't have a curve tracer, so I can't look at cool stuff like this, but why on your first plot do they come together at the end?
Basically, we're very low current. And when you sweep it positive and negative, there's some capacitive effects, which puts a loop in it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. When you get to higher current, why you don't see that loop. And on the right, you see there's two different ending points. And so one of those ending points is sweeping positive and one is sweeping negative. So there is a little bit of difference in current, whether the cathode is positive with respect to the heater or negative. So anyway, the cathode's acting like an anode in some cases, and in some cases the heater's acting as an anode. which is really weird. So now that everybody's confused,
Yeah, I'm confused.
let's go to the next one here. So this is a number 26 vacuum tube. It's a directly heated cathode. And the 26, they state that you can run this AC or DC filament, 1.5 volts. And so what I did was run it DC on the left and right here. And you notice, especially the starting point is quite different because we've basically changed the bias inside the tube. In other words, more of the heater is at a negative potential or a positive potential with respect to our grid drive. And you can see they end up at different values on the end of the sweep here. So I've always wondered, okay, why doesn't that produce hum in a radio with those directly heated cathodes? And so down here on the bottom, what I did was go to AC on the heater. And you notice that these split all over the place. To make it easier to see, the right one, we're stepping the grid 5 volts per step. And you can see here they're starting at the same point, but really the grid is at 5 volts difference at that point. And then they take off in different trajectories as the high voltage goes up. So you would expect, wouldn't you, that it'd hum like hell? So why doesn't it hum? We've got 60 hertz modulating that. So you've got basically, you can think of it as a starting heater and a finishing heater. In other words, you look at most of these tubes, and the heater goes up to a point and then comes back down and makes the internal connection again. So you got a left and a right heater. So if you recall, all of these radios that use the directly heated cathode, they're center tapped. The heaters are center tapped. So you've got this basically center tapped filament. One filament's going positive and one side is going negative, and they're canceling each other out.
Cancel each other out. Okay.
With respect to the center tap.
Right. I don't know, there's just some screwy things that have mulled in my mind for so long. And
Interesting to see what you would have with AC on a tube like the 47 where you don't have the center tap.
oh,
Or a 45.
well, a lot of those do, don't they?
Well,
Well, now, is the filament transformer that feeds them center tap though?
yeah,
Or does
that's,
that take care of that?
that's what I was wondering if we discover is that, for instance, if you're running an older radio with a 45 or a 47, 46, those don't have the center tap. So you have to create the return path through the transformer. You generally find the filament has a center tap on it. Or more crudely, they'll might have a pair of resistors from one side to the other to ground. And you see that on the tubes too. 45 very often will have a 10 ohm tapped resistor. You'll have have it between each side of the filament with the wiper tied to the chassis or to return.
Right. So I think typically
That'd be the same effect. And that's exactly why they're tapped, so you can adjust the center point with respect to the two ends, canceling the hum.
Yeah, so basically, you know, on one cycle, you're running half the tube harder than the other side and vice versa when the, the voltage switches over. Because basically you're modulating the bias on each half of the tube, but in opposite directions. Alrighty. Any other questions before I shut her down?
No, that's cool.
Oh, you can do more damn screwy things with a curve tracer. One of these days, I want to take a 6DJ8 and put it under high gain and then beat it with another oscillator. What Tech found with the 6DJ8, it's a frame grid tube. And the electrons going by actually vibrate the grid ultrasonically.
Ooh.
And normally you wouldn't hear that in an audio amp, but on an oscilloscope where you're looking at high frequency phenomena, it's a big deal. Anyway, so what they had done was heterodyne the output of that with another local oscillator. And anyway, it had these eerie woo-wee, woo-wee, oh, you know, kind of almost like a theremin playing, you know, except it did it spontaneously by itself. A lot of weird magic that.
Sounds like those tubes were a little moogie.
Yeah, moogie. I got another thing we can try if you want, looking at different LED light fixtures and the currents they draw. Are you interested?
Yeah, that'd be very good because they're always interfering with radios, right? I mean,
well, this is for your normal lighting.
Yeah, I think it's your power supply in the LED lights that interferes, not the LED itself.
Yeah.
So it's the switch mode.
The switch mode power supplies that tear you up.
Let me see if I can get set up here with curve tracer.
And everything has a switch mode power supply in it, doesn't it?
Well, getting that way. Not everything, but.
Is that for expense? I mean, because it's so much cheaper to make those, right?
Well, yeah, because you don't have a big, heavy transformer with lots of copper in it. Because you make you make a small transformer and switch it at high volts. Yeah.
Yeah. Even wall warts would be more expensive to make than a switch.
That's right. Yeah. Now my router I use here had a very noisy power supply, and I found an old transformer wall wart and replaced it with that.
Did it quiet it down?
Oh yeah, got rid of a lot of interference because it was just terrible in the picking it up on HF.
So the reason they're doing that is they're actually creating an electrical interference in the electrical system yourself. So is it coming out of that switch mode?
It does, but it's not intentional. But they do, because you want to switch it on and off as fast as you can for your efficiency, and you don't want it to stay in between on and off. Mm-hmm. Because then it's going to heat up, dissipate when it's in the linear part of the curve, it's going to be dissipating power. So, and so you want it either on or off, which means a square wave, and square waves are infinite set of odd harmonics.
I guess what I'm saying, not actually going in the line voltage itself. It's actually coming. It's going through the air, right? I mean,
well, yeah, but wires are antennas, and so it radiates back to your wire in your house, antenna, yeah. And the cord on the device, and so forth.
Oh, so that's the antenna, right? So the power, so it's coming through the power line itself makes
or the cord that goes to the device if it has a cord. That's an antenna too.
But a lot less voltage goes into it, right? Yeah.
It's called conducted when it goes through the power cord.
Right, you have, I guess, common mode interference, I think is the,
Is that the term for it?
yeah, usually that's when it's running down a conductor on the, in fact, I'm trying to remember the exact definition of that, but yeah, it's on the surface of the conductor. I mean, because you can have a coax cable for, like I use in the radio, to connect up to an antenna. There's also a signal or currents running down the outside of the shield. So, and that's common mode. You don't want that. You need it.
Okay, so here's a lamp and a fixture right now. And what we got is voltage across here, and we got current going vertically. And you notice there's spikes on the positive and negative of the line where the current peaks. Okay, so that's a rather poor power factor. Now there is some rounding stuff in the middle. I don't know what that is. It's evidently some capacitor, probably EMI filtering. If I go down to here, I've got no light out of the bulb, but I see the capacitor, and as I raise the voltage, then the peak currents show up.
Well, maybe are the spikes the on time for the switch mode supply?
No, these are the spikes are the charging currents into the bulk capacitor.
Okay.
So the bulk capacitor then has 150 volts DC on it from the full wave rectification of the line. And these are the pulses charging that capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
Then the switch mode power supply works off of that capacitor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Let me go to another one. So here's another bulb. Visually, it doesn't have anything on the outside. It just looks like an incandescent bulb. But if you notice, it's got some really strange looking stuff at low line voltage. And then as you crank it up, all of a sudden it starts lighting up. And again, you see the sharp peaks where you're charging the bulk capacitor. So this one, I don't know what that center crap is, but
weird.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's very visible.
Okay. I'm a little far from my screen there. So this one has very sharp peaks and not much in the center except for that strange rectangular kind of angled affair. Now, we'll go to another bulb. This one has a ballast. Well, it looks like this. It's got a ballast at the bottom.
Is that a compact fluorescent?
It looks like an LED.
This guy, he has turned on, well, both bulbs are supposed to be dimmable, but the one I just had, you got to be almost up to line voltage before it'll start turning on. This one here is turning on at, I don't know, let's see, we're 50 volts per div. So it's turning on at about 10 volts peak to peak. It's dim. Anyway, that baby really gets with the program. Once you get up to a decent voltage, it looks like it's fairly smooth and it doesn't have those peaky charge currents. Anyway, there's all kinds of different designs here.
So that's a better quality one then, right? I mean, it looks like it doesn't have all that noise in the middle.
It doesn't. I just wish it would live longer. That one quits at about 20 minutes. And then the other one similar to it quit getting bright. So, and it's not the LED, because you take it apart and the LED works just fine. It's just the converter. And amazingly, let's see here. Here's one of them here. The electrolytic is 130 degrees C electrolytic. So they're, you know, those damn things get hot. And so they've actually made electrolytics that are supposed to handle the heat. You know, typically you see 85 degrees C. And if you buy good caps, they're 105 degrees C.
Right, yeah.
But these are 130. I couldn't believe it.
Well, if they're gonna live a long time, they gotta have a high rating like that.
Yeah, as hot as they get, you know. Okay, that's your Mr. Wizard for the day.
Thanks, Bruce. I sure appreciate it. That's cool. It's so cool to see it visually.
Yeah,
you know, you can really see what's going on.
I never really thought about it. Is Tech still building curve tracers?
Not actually.
Yeah. Or is anybody building them?
I believe they are, but Tech's not into that now.
Mhm.
They're wound up with Keithley now. And what they have are digital multimeters that, you know, talk Ethernet and all that. And so you interface that with your scope to make a curve tracer. But basically, it doesn't show it real time.
Yeah.
It's got to go step by step and sample by sample by sample and store it away and then give you a waveform. Because the power supply doesn't sweep nice and linear like that, where you can, like you're basically doing with this curve tracer.
Yeah. When I worked at the DOT, we had an old Tech curve tracer. They're all for 30 years while I worked there, but it was the handiest thing that, I mean, I don't know how to use a lot of things, but looking at Zener diodes and things like that was a real handy thing just to see what they were doing and stuff. And
what's Pat got there? You're muted, Pat.
I was just playing.
We're gonna play a game. Pat's gonna run it.
I wasn't gonna run it. Yeah, that's okay, I guess.
So we're gonna play a game. What's it called, Pat?
Was it?
Yeah, what's it?
Uh-huh.
So explain everybody what we're doing.
Well, we have some items here. We're going to start out tonight with just 5 items. And if it goes over good, we'll maybe do it next week with more items. So we have a list of 5 unknown items. And then the first person to respond via chat with the correct answer gets a point. And the person with the most points gets, what do they get, Franklin?
A gift card. I'll mail it to them.
All right, sounds good. Does everyone want to play this game?
I thought we'd get the item. What the hell?
That would even be better.
Well, I guess.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Hey,
console radios, right, Pat?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have plenty of those for the auction on August when we meet again. So just to guys let you know, we're probably going to have some decent items come up for the auction in August. So that means a lot of the stuff that we had planned to auction off in August, they're coming from the trailer, are probably all going to be going on the free table. So you saw the stuff that was, how many of you guys went out to the picnic and picked up some free stuff on the free tables?
I sure did.
Okay, well, there will be more items, maybe not as many as what was on the free table, but I think the quality might be a tad bit better. So would encourage you guys to show up on the next meeting at the Abernathy Grange. And we're desperately looking for people to help out with either picking up items, storing them, maybe provide boxes. We're expecting a fairly large amount of donated radios from the McCracken estate. And we won't know what's involved until Tom Hoskins has a chance to look it over. And I think Mike McCrow said he was going to go down on the last day. So stay tuned.
So far, we're looking kind of good, but with this COVID thing going nuts, I wonder if we're going to get shut down again.
We could, we just have to play it ear, play it by ear.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the first item here. So you guys know how to use chat on Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been
Everybody?
already.
All righty, I'm gonna hold this up and then I'll hopefully get a chat message and we'll, Franklin, can you keep score?
Sure.
Okay, here's the first item. It's a plug-in item. And at the top, it's old. It's got a tube in there. And it has 4 posts.
Make sure you just chat to Pat. Otherwise, everybody's going to know.
Yeah, does anyone want to take, you can take a guess, we'll allow a good guess as well.
A verbal guess or a chat guess?
Well, it depends if we can't get any chats.
Blake's chatting to everybody, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, my answers.
Sure, go
Everybody
ahead.
knows that's a snorkel marker.
It's a
Yeah,
snorkel
yeah.
marker.
All right, I'll give some hints.
What
It's
you
made
see
by
when you're-
GE. It's made by GE. It's plug into the wall.
You gotta tip it there.
Yeah. I put my guess in.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 across there, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is an AB supply? You mean
An AB supply, you plug it into the wall, gives you A voltage and B voltage, high voltage and filament.
no, not quite.
Okay, then it's a snorkel marker. Gotta be one or the other.
Telephone line amplifier? No, not quite. On the back, it says you can do terminal, 2 cells, 3 cells.
That's a tube in there too, right?
Oh, yeah.
What tube is it?
A BH.
Oh, now you have
okay.
to ask a tough question. It's a Tungar GE.
Yeah,
But
a rectum fire.
I think Jeff got it.
oh, what is it? Yes, Jeff is correct. It is a charger.
I was close.
Yes, you were.
Snorkel markers are also, no, just kidding.
Awesome.
Okay, Jeff is great. All right.
That's
you
got
got-
1 point.
Anybody need a big Tunger bulb? Heck, I got one. I don't know what I'm going to do with.
All right.
A
So
couple
this
of
next,
BHs.
this next item I found in a box. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe you guys will know what it is. You plug it into the wall. And at the other end, you can plug something else into it, but I'm not sure what for.
You got it, Blake.
Yep.
Ballast.
Ballast.
Oh, I don't know if a ballast has that kind of a plug-in.
Yes, they do.
Well, you can
I
be a
got
little
brand-
bit
I
more.
got brand new ones here.
You need to
Can
be
you
a
be a little bit
spe-
more definitive on what kind of ballast, what's used for?
What's used for radios? Big
That's just the brand name.
Right, I know, but on the label, whoops, where'd it go? On the end label, it told me what it was.
Oh, a current ballast or a voltage.
Big black ballast.
Yeah.
Put it in noise detector.
Well, I think I've got a more correct answer from Dan. What is the definition of a ballast? Because this is a line conditioner. Is a ballast a line conditioner? I mean, it's toss up. Does Blake get it or does Dan get it?
Dan gets it if that's what it is. It's a line conditioner.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
Hey,
is
one
a
for Dan.
form of ballast though.
All right, now I have this. This should be fairly easy. I know you guys have seen this, but not everyone has seen one of these. There's no wires attached to it. It's just got a gear.
Ooh,
Clock
Oh,
mech.
yeah.
Blake.
Clock mech, that is correct. Blake has got that one. All righty, now you guys are gonna have to watch this.
Is it a Telecron?
What?
Was it a Telecron?
Believe so. Actually, this one does not have any markings,
Ah,
but I believe it came out of a Telecron type.
looks like one.
Yep. Okay, so you guys gonna, I know you know what this is, so you're gonna have to be quick on it. All right, ready?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. It is a socket tester. Blake gets another one.
Blake's on the lead with 2.
Two. All right. This, if we have a tie, we'll have to show more items. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know what this is. It's tricky. You guys ready to
I
figure out-
wonder if Mark's it as an extender so you can get a hold of the connections there too.
Well, you know, Mark, you're correct. It does extend the tube. I bet you could just use it for a very expensive tube extender, but it does have leads on it.
Yep.
Yeah, for test for
Right.
hookup for testing.
Right, but where the pins are on the top of that, where you stick the tube in, aren't there also test points?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So yeah, it would be an extender to test it in circuit and
Mhm.
measure your voltages resistance without,
Being underneath the chassis.
All right, cool. All right, so we have the last question here. Blake's in the lead, 2-1 to 0. All right, this is the last item.
Ta-da.
Yeah, on both sides, there's a little screw in there.
It looks like a wood screw.
Yeah, it is. It's a very coarse threaded screw on both sides, and it's a little black item.
Mark says it's a fuse. Is it a fuse?
No, it is not a fuse.
An insulator. Jeff says insulator.
No, it's not. Not really.
A resistor.
Okay, let me think. What this is, and I think we may have to determine, we're gonna have to vote on who has the
Is it an
correct
arrest?
answer. This
I just
kind of a tricky thing
I sent my
this-
answer.
is used in a car. You
Yep.
cut the coil
Oh,
wire.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So
That's what
you,
that's what I sent you.
oh, Mark
Mark got
Richardson.
it.
Mark's got it.
Okay,
I seen
great,
those.
great. So you guys
Just a
want to play
resistor
more,
is what
or
it is.
do we go ahead and allow Blake?
Blake
to-
win.
We can't let him win.
No, no,
Keep
play
going.
some more.
You want to play more?
I want to play more. They like it.
Oh, well, all righty. Okay, now I have something else here, which I don't know what it's for, but hopefully you guys do, all right? We have two units. One's made out of wood, the other is made out of metal, but the bottom is still metal.
Looks like,
They're mini tube size.
Well, you want to know how many pins? I think this is the 9-pin. Yeah,
Don't think
one
it's
is a
like-
9-pin, one is 7.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe it is a plug-in
No.
coil.
Socket saver, Blake said.
those, one made out of ferrite?
Well, no, both of the end pieces are metal. You just have this thing to hold on to, and this one is metal and the other one is wood. Well, I think,
How
ooh,
about
I
like
like the
Mark-
chess piece.
Huh.
I think Blake is going to have the right answer as a socket saver, but a socket cleaner is also
That's it.
correct.
Then give it to socket cleaner, because socket savers are common. Socket burnishing tools are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it to Mark.
Okay, have you seen this before, but you guys?
I have not.
I have not either.
I've seen one, but I just didn't remember what the.
Uh-oh, we have to play one more then. All righty. I have no idea what this is, but if you look at the end, you can tell. So take a look at this. And there's wires coming out, and you can unplug it.
Only 3 pins.
Oh,
That does look like a plug-in coil. Oh, yes, Blake's got it.
Lazy
Well,
plug-in
I guess technically that is correct, but it is actually labeled something other than a coil.
Somebody's got to be more specific.
Well, not quite, Blake. I'm going to make you be very, very specific.
It's not a rectifier.
It is technically a coil. It is not labeled as an oscillator. It is not labeled as a transformer.
Or rectifier.
Well,
Oh. I wonder if it came out of a grid dip meter. Is it a grid dip coil?
Yeah.
well, I believe the actual answer I was looking for very specifically comes from Jeff. It's an antenna coil, unless you want to call an RF coil a antenna, but it's actually labeled as an antenna.
Not quite focused.
Huh. Okay.
Back it up
So do
just
we-
a little bit.
So we want to give Jeff the,
Back it off a little bit from the camera, just a little. Yeah, broadcast antenna.
Wow, it's an antenna.
Well, it's a plug-in coil for some sort of
I think it
radio.
goes to a grid dip meter. The form of it is about right, and it's got the frequency labeled on it.
The grid dip ones I've seen, yeah, are a couple, just 2 wires usually.
Yeah, that's a good point.
okay,
I think
well,
they're easy.
Mark, on this one, the only 2 ones that are leads are soldered up are only 2, but
Mhm.
but the actual antenna has 3.
Is that just an index?
Well, only 2 of them are hooked up. So I don't know, without taking this apart, I have no idea where the third pin goes.
It looked like there might be a smaller winding on top there, I
Yeah,
think.
it's a separate winding up there.
Oh, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Right here. Okay, I got you. Gotcha.
Could be tapped.
Mhm.
Does it go to Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff got it.
Okay. So we have a tie. Do we have a tie? Should we keep going, or do we have a winner?
We have a tie.
Uh-oh, all right, we have to go to another one. I think I know what this is, but I'm gonna let you guys tell me. It's plastic.
It's an antenna insulator.
Nah, not quite.
Plastic. Huh?
It's like a coax insulator.
No,
Or it's an insulator so that you can break up your long wire when you guy your antenna.
no.
Like ladder line?
Yeah, it's a ladder line insulator.
Ladder line insulator, okay.
I was trying to spit that out.
Yeah, it could be that too.
So it's pretty wide though, isn't it?
Could
Yeah.
be anyway. That
It's actually for winding up a line cord.
So you wind it around it?
Yeah, so that you don't have a long cord
I don't think so.
Okay, you wind it
hanging down on
around
the floor.
Yeah.
Wrap it around and then,
and then secure the ends. Yeah.
yep.
All right, well, what do you guys feel has the right answer? Because I've seen this used as a antenna wire winder, but if it's more correctly a power line.
what's the make on there? I can see some letter. See some.
I'll go with a thing that picks up the slack in a power cord.
It says the Hardwood Company, Harwood, Harwood Company, Farmingdale, New Jersey. I guess you guys, somebody could Google that and see what we come up with. So what do you guys vote? Who has the closest answer? Because actually, I've seen this as an antenna, something to coil up your antennas, but this hole is actually quite big.
Mhm.
But then if you put a cord in here, you can't wind much around it.
Yeah.
Unless you go this way.
It really looks like a ladder line spacer for making your own ladder line with to snap that over some wires.
What holds it in place?
Well, it looks like it's, well, if it's actually I've seen some homemade ones. They pretty much stay in place.
It looks like one side would fall out.
I think it's for winding power cords around.
Pat, I think you need to throw that one out and pull another one.
Okay.
There you go.
Uh-oh. I think we've already seen this, so you guys are gonna have to be quick on the draw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Blake has got it.
Blake-
It's a vibrator.
Well,
Right.
what voltage?
Yeah, that's right. What
Yeah, there you
frequency,
go.
what voltage?
There we go. Make it harder on him.
You know, it
Yeah,
doesn't
lots of
say, I'm
vibrator.
sorry.
Oh,
It's got
Blake
some
says
numbers
it-
there. I don't know if you can read them.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, what do you say? You got it right too, but
6-volt, not synchronous.
It is 4-pin.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'd say Blake has the first answer and the more complete one. Okay, this next item, I have no idea what it is. So I was hoping you guys can tell me. This is plastic, actually kind of a rubber plastic because it's squishy. And what the rubber is around is actually looks like a piece of Bakelite. So I have no idea what this does.
Oh, it's the outside of a pin straightener.
Oh, pull tubes.
Yeah, it's a tube puller.
The tube puller.
Yeah. And
That's it.
Okay,
it's pin straightener.
Yeah.
is it a
Oh,
pin
wow.
straightener or tube puller?
Oh,
Oh,
it does both, huh?
It was made by the Swiss Army.
That's funny, dude.
I've actually got one of those over here in my tube checker. And the end of it used to have a pin straightener in it, 9 on one side and 7 on the other.
Well, this one's got 8 and 9. 8 on one side, 9 on the other.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's like a 2, 4, 6, 10. 8 and 10. This
Oh,
one is by
that's
the Belling and Lee Limited, made in England.
Huh.
So the English tubes have weird pin configurations like,
Well, let's see what mine has.
yeah.
Mine has it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if you think about it, a 7-pin has a space in it, so it has 8 spaces, and a 9-pin has a space in it, so it would be a 10-pin.
oh, okay.
For 7 and 8-pin. It also works really good as a finger caught.
Wow, he's got one. Okay, great. Pin straightener. All right, Blake is far
Did we
ahead
get an
now.
extra point for having one?
No, you can just all laugh at me.
We're all jealous, Blake.
Well,
Put it
I
on
do
the
have
free table next time.
I do have one more item, but I think Blake is so far ahead. I don't think no one can catch him. Do you want to see this last item?
I won't type anything this time.
Why not?
All right. I don't know what this is, so hopefully you guys can tell. It's a little metal piece with like a black Bakelite knob on it that you can twist, and it twists the shaft, and at the end of a shaft, there's a little wire.
yeah,
Whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bet the end of the wire is bronze phosphor.
Yeah,
Crystal radio.
It's a radio part.
yeah. Isn't this very, very early?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
made by Fillmore.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
rectifier.
Yeah, cat's whisperer, cat whisperer.
yep,
Everyone
yep.
says cat whispers.
That's what I thought. I think
What
Mark has the
kid?
correct answer.
I've got one of those over here in the drawer too. You want to see it?
You get an extra point.
Where's the crystal that goes with it?
In the
Yeah, you
bottle.
need a uranium crystal.
No, I'm sorry. I do not have that. This is all I was able to salvage of it.
Here, I got a home brew one here from, I don't know if it was built here in Hawaii.
Sweet. Show us the
Found it
crystal.
at an antique
Is that a big
store.
One.
Well, Pat, you know the George Kirkwood,
Yes.
he makes his own crystals,
Yes.
and it doesn't sound that difficult. And
not.
they're very. He says that they're much better than what you can get anywhere else. I don't know how he does it, but he was explaining.
Pat,
Yes.
I've got one for you.
Uh-oh.
I'll hold it up to the camera. Can everybody see this is edge on?
The lighting is not quite.
Okay, let me kill the lights. That should help. Can you see it in between my fingers?
Yeah, but not.
Now let me see if I can. Let me bring myself up so I can see the picture. But it's end on that counts. And I'll give you a hint. You might see this. Let me tilt it a little bit more. You might find this. Oh, there we go. That's better. You might find this on the other end of something you saw earlier tonight.
Is it a crystal? A piece of galena?
That's close, Lyles, but and because of the picture probably isn't super clear, this is actually, you're partially right. What kind of material is in it? You said galena, and I would agree that you do see some galena in there. Do you see anything else?
It's like I want to say it's the holder, but
it is. Yeah, it is a holder, and it does have galena in it, but it has something else in it as well. I'll show you again. You shouldn't be able to tell, but I don't think any of you will get it. This was a product that was produced by Fillmore, and it is called it's written on the box here. This is called a 5-crystal kit. It actually is a detector. It has galena, PBS. It has steel galena. It has carborundum in it. It has iron pyrite, and it has copper pyrite. It has 5 detector crystals in one, so you could play with them and decide which particular mineral you liked best for your detector.
I've never seen anything like that before. That's got to be unique.
Yeah.
Sapphires, carborundum is sapphires, right? Sapphires.
I don't know.
Cool.
All I know is I've had that for years. I found it on somebody's table, and like I said, it's a Fillmore product, and it's called a 5-crystal kit. And this is a regular one. This only has galena in it, but it's the same idea.
Wow, that's neat. That's neat, Blake.
I think I've got a black. I think I've got a carborundum one too. This one's interesting. It's actually got potting material inside of a brass holder, and then the carborundum is in there.
I was going to point out that's an interesting mix of minerals. You have the standard detector galena, but you also have carborundum, which has to be biased.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
We need
My
to put that-
camera's got too wide an angle and you can see all my mess.
So, yeah, Blake, we need to put those different detectors on the curve tracer.
I'll bring it to the next meeting and give it to you, Bruce, and that'll be our tech talk for next time. I'll bring a small power supply too, so you can bias up the.
Yeah, like Dan said, well, you got to bias it up. Well, you don't have to bias it up on the curve tracer. It'll do its own. The only thing is we got to be really careful not to put too much current in.
Would he heat it up?
No, they're pretty sensitive.
Oh,
Yeah, you might let smoke out.
Yeah. Although you got a lot of surface there for separate little detectors in each little pile.
You guys want to guess what this is? It's made out of metal.
Hmm.
See if I can get it edge on so you can see.
It's not very thick, is it?
No,
It's not a lamination, is it?
no, and we all used to use these. Well, most of us used to use these, but by the time we got to them, they were plastic.
oh, Pat's got it. 45 record insert.
It is.
Oh, okay.
And they made him out of metal? Wow.
Made them out of metal.
Well, they
And-
made them out of everything.
And you bought them in a box of 10.
Interesting.
That's the only weird thing I got sitting on my workbench, so.
Well, I got one right here.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Everybody's doing show and tell.
What's that?
Cool.
Look what you started, Pat.
Yeah,
I got
This is fun.
Hang on.
those are iron wires.
It looks like a Rastafarian capacitor.
That's a Farfignator. They use Volkswagens to make Farfignugan. That one's about worn out.
Came out of an Atwater can,
Wow.
No kidding. Wow.
buried in tar.
Is it an audio?
Is it one of the audio transformers?
Well, it's an audio inductor. It's the pull-up inductor in the output stage that's then capacitively coupled to the speaker.
Okay.
And basically internal, there's really fine wire wrapped around these iron wires as the inductor. Anyway, I ended up just taking a output transformer and using the primary in place of this. No, when I basically I put the power supply on an induction cooktop, a little portable one, to melt the tar out because the caps were bad. And when I poured it out, why this came out and broke those wires off, little bitty fine wires. But
My
the
wife makes me use the barbecue outside.
Now,
the induction cooktop outside.
On that, any of you ever seen Mr. Carlson's lab?
Oh, yeah.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah.
Mr. Carlson's lab.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he shows that he did a real neat thing where he bought one of those toaster ovens and just cut a hole in the top and put the transformer right inside of it, bolted it down, heated it up, and then it all came out.
Wow.
Sacrificed it. It was already beat up, from a thrift store. So I thought, oh, okay.
I will take chopsticks for the Atwater Kent ones, and I will push them in as far as I can in the corners, and then go to the dollar store and buy the metal tins, the baking tins. I'll put them on the barbecue on low, and as the thing heats up, the can falls down eventually onto the sticks, and the stuff rolls out of it. Only takes about a half an hour on low.
Wow, that's pretty quick. Yeah, when I poured mine out, and I've still got some solid stuff. Let me take the little hand torch and, you know, clean it up. And then I set the hand torch down on the floor, pointed at the plastic waste can and started a waste can on fire. And of course, beat on it with your hand to put it out. And of course, then the molten plastic sticks to your hand. What a zoo.
Wow.
Comedy of errors. Anyway, didn't burn the place down.
Oh, that's the important part. Deck with a house, but you don't want to lose those curve tracers.
No.
I only tease you because I'm envious.
Well, you know, number one, a scope is really handy at times.
Yeah.
And then what, a curve tracer. Of course, you need an LCR meter and a few things like that, but you can really learn a lot more by seeing the signals and the characteristics. And
I've gone through a series of 2 or 3 good DSOs. I finally got one that's 300 megahertz and 4 gigasample, and it works well on both. I still reach down and grab my Tech 2335 and grab it. It's good to teach on because people don't get menu driven devices with a bazillion buttons on them.
right. It can be really confusing.
Yes. So I always start out with a tech scope. And on those, I've graduated from bigger and better to smaller and not as good. Gone the other way.
Well, that was so much fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it like I did. We're going to keep trying to do this.
Okay.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, everybody, for playing.
Thanks, Pat. And thank you, Franklin, for keeping score.
Okay, so we'll have to give Blake the gift certificate.
Does that mean I have to come up with 10 items for the next time and I get?
Hey, there we go. The
That
winner
sounds
has
like
to
a
go.
plan.
I'll go for that.
Sounds good.
Good
I
enough.
have company coming that you all know.
Is he an old fart? Not so old.
He's a middle-aged fart.
On his way to be, but not quite there.
All right, I think I'm gonna bail. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yep,
I think I'll bail. Catch everybody next time.
Bruce,
Yeah.
thanks.
Cheers,
Miles.
everybody. Dan, good to see you.
Catch you guys later.
Does anyone have any storage space? I would hate to have the club rent a storage unit, but may have to with all the stuff that we might get from McCracken's. Okay.
I don't think anyone has any storage space.
Oh, I know who might have some. I should talk to Bill over in Vancouver. He's got some storage on he's got some acreage and everything. He's got a couple outbuildings and whatnot. Should see if he might donate some space to the club for a bit. So, okay, other than that, I guess, what else is going on, you guys?
Not much. You should have told everybody how good the picnic went, but everybody's left. It looks like most people left. But
Well, I think-
we got that'll come up in the meeting, right?
Yeah, I think it came out really good. I think everyone here, Jeff, Mike, Christian, I think pretty much everyone went to the picnic, I think.
Hey, Pat,
Yo,
is McCracken having a sale Saturday or are they just ready to unload stuff?
they are having a sale tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. It is, I forgot, 20% off tomorrow, 50% off on Friday, and 75% off on Saturday. And then what they don't sell, supposedly they're gonna give us a call and we can come up and, receive everything as a donation.
Yeah, I've been to 4 of those already. I'm not sure what's left That's really good stuff unless the early 20 rate, those battery sets and horns, speakers that they were asking quite a bit for, that might be a good deal, but
Right, right. But like I say, I don't know. It seems like most of the wood stuff and the old sets were just too much money. I'm into plastics, and the plastics were decently priced. And at 75% off everything, it might be worthwhile to go down there.
yeah, I just wonder what's going to be left on day 3.
Well, 50% off on Friday, so day 3, Saturday, 75%. So I've got company, and I don't think I'll be able to get down there.
Hmm.
Might be worth you guys' while. I mean, 75% off, that's
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Even their high inflated prices, 75% off of some of those wood radios should make it pretty decent.
You know anybody else that's going?
Well, I know Tom Hoskins is going absolutely for sure.
I'm going to shut down the recording.
Okay, yeah, good.